Here are 5 things to try when you lose your curls. Hey there guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're brand new here, hi, my name's Courtney and I love talking all things wavy curly hair science, and today I'm going to give you 5 things to try if you had some great curls and then all of a sudden you lose your curls. Like your hair is not hairing. The curls are no longer curling. There are absolutely factors within your control that can help bring the curls back. But before we dive into that, you know what I'm gonna ask you to do. Pretty please, subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell. That way you are notified when a new upload is uploaded. And we can hang out some more here on this corner of the internet. Another way to support this channel for free is to like and share this video. I deeply appreciate it. It really does actually help me out. The first thing you can do if your hair was curling and looking so beautiful and lovely and like really things were going so well, you were getting so encouraged with your curls, and then slowly, wash day after wash day, you seem to just lose progress every time you wash and style and you're about ready to pull out the clippers and shave your head. The first thing to try, you already know what I'm gonna say. Type it in the comments down below if you know. One of the first things that we tend to do as people embracing our waves and curls and trying to nurture and nourish and love on our hair, we tend to start reaching for really gentle shampoos. And we use those every time we wash our hair. We also start extending the time in between our wash days because in theory, the less we're washing our hair, the less we're damaging it. And lastly, we start playing around with different styling products, perhaps styling products we have never played around with before. And we start layering them in our hair and we start adding more and more and more product to our hair on refresh days. And then all of a sudden we're in a situation of crazy buildup. And you may be thinking to yourself, Courtney, I already knew you were gonna say clarify. I've tried that. And the clarifying did not fix my problems. You don't know what you're talking about. Did you know that there are different kinds of buildup on your hair, and picking the specific correct clarifying shampoo to remove your specific type of buildup is important. If you have severe oil buildup on your hair, but your shampoo is really targeted to removing polyquaternium buildup, you may still have significant oil buildup on your hair that wasn't properly removed. This bad boy right here is the Pantene Volume Shampoo. It has become my new baseline clarifying shampoo. It does cover the widest range of issues of buildup. It's a clear formula. It's not gonna put any moisturizing on your hair. It's just gonna clean it. It's gonna get you completely reset back to baseline, back to zero. Not only does it contain sodium lauryl sulfate, it also contains sodium laureth sulfate along with cocamidopropylbutane. And chances are, if you've heard me talking about clarifying and deep conditioning your hair as of late, you will have tried this. And if this did not solve your issue, if you are finding that your curls are not coming back after a good clarify session, it is possible that you are dealing with hard water buildup. While this does contain some hard water buildup removing ingredients or chelating ingredients, they are not designated on the bottle that they are in high enough concentrations to actually chelate. What I mean is, y'all probably looked on the back of the bottle and saw tetrasodium EDTA on the ingredients label and thought, ha, that's a chelating ingredient. That must mean that this removes hard water buildup. Tetrasodium EDTA also acts as a preservative, keeping the bad bugs from growing, mold, fungus, mildew, all of that stuff in your products. We like that. We like not having moldy products. It's not necessarily strong enough to chelate. This, on the other hand, is the Wedad Waterworks shampoo. I've tried a lot of different chelating shampoos in the past 5 years playing around with this wavy curly hair thing. Why? Because we have insanely hard water where I live, and my hair's pretty low porosity and pretty prone to buildup. So I've had my fun experimenting with chelating shampoos, and this one right here, I feel like is the most effective and my favorite for removing hard water buildup. Even though this is on the more expensive side, I find that it's really concentrated, so I can get away with using less and it still be highly effective. Also, I find that I don't need to remove hard water buildup from my hair too terribly often. Once, maybe twice a month, but like that's kind of a lot. Really, I just need to use this once a month, maybe every month and a half. So this bottle does last me quite a long time and has done a whole lot in improving the health of my hair. We could do a whole video on each of these 5 things. And if you are interested in actually having a full, more detailed, more in-depth video, like a 5-part series, going deep into the 5 things that make you lose your curls and like why, we can do that. But in an effort to respect your time, I'm going to try and get through these things fairly quickly so that you're not too terribly overwhelmed. So if I leave you wanting more of the wavy curly hair science, again, let me know in the comments down below. We can go more in depth into each of these topics. Now, after you have clarified your hair, you have heard me say that if your hand is reaching for a clarifying shampoo, the other hand needs to be reaching for a deep conditioner. And while using a really moisturizing, protein-free deep conditioner, or even a deep conditioning mask that does contain some protein, while that can be good, there are times when you need to clarify and pull out the big guns. This, my friends, is the strongest protein treatment I have ever tried. This protein treatment right here is not for the faint of heart. And if that scares you, be not afraid, because you can control the potency of this product with the amount of time that you leave it on your hair. If your hair tolerates protein really, really well, I find that you can leave this on the hair for roughly 20 minutes. Now, on the back of the bottle, it recommends 5 to 10 minutes. So I would suggest starting with what the manufacturer recommends you do with the product, but I personally have left this on my hair for slightly longer than that because my hair is very hungry for the proteins. Proteins lend structure to the hair, especially if you have finer hair. It has less protein inherently than a hair that's on the coarser side of things. So if you have incredibly coarse hair, you may find that you don't need to reach for a powerful protein treatment. You can get away with a protein-free deep conditioner after you clarify. But if you've been in the market for an incredible protein treatment, like a ridiculously strong one, this one right here is really good. Now, don't be fooled by marketing. Shea Moisture, I love you, but this is not a powerful protein treatment. And the reason I'm saying that is because I know more than you, Shea Moisture. Just kidding, I really don't. But when I'm looking for a powerful protein treatment, as a consumer, what I look for is a protein within the first 5 of the ingredients on the ingredients label. That kind of tells me, that gives me a hint, an indication that the protein's gonna be concentrated enough to be really effective. So I actually thought for a long time that this was a powerful protein treatment, and I was frustrated because it wasn't functioning in my hair like a powerful protein treatment. When I found out and when I learned that I should be looking for a protein within the first 5 of the ingredients label, it changed my life. It changed my hair game. I do actually really love this deep conditioner just as a deep conditioning mask. It does contain a really interesting ingredient that's kind of a protein silicone hybrid, which is particularly effective for extremely damaged hair. This is amazing. This is a really good product, but I just disagree with the marketing claims that it's a powerful protein treatment. Maybe not so much, but it is really good. All right, you've clarified. You've done a protein treatment. Your curls still aren't back. What's the next thing you should try? Bond repair, my friends. Welcome to the year of 2024. It's a beautiful time to be alive because science has been really well applied to the hair care industry, wherein before, if certain bonds were broken in your hair, that was it. They were broken. And basically you just had to wait for your hair to grow out and trim it off above where the bonds were broken. You just had to live with the broken bonds in your hair. But now there are actual products out there that can chemically reconnect the broken disulfide, salt, peptide bonds, and hydrogen bonds in your hair. Really the main bonds that are the most difficult to reconnect are the disulfide bonds, and there are a multitude of different bond repair treatments out there. Again, I told you, we could make like a whole entire video about each of these topics, but I'll go through these really quick. K18, lovely, extremely effective bond repair treatment. I understand that this tiny bottle right here is $75 and that is excruciatingly painful to purchase. This isn't something that is absolutely necessary for every single person out there. If you aren't dealing with severe damage and don't need an excruciatingly potent bond repair treatment, then maybe you can skip this one. It is really nice because not only does it repair the disulfide bonds in your hair, it also reconnects peptide bonds. Glaze, Glaziplex. I like this a lot. This particular product targets mainly the salt bonds in your hair. It does claim to build 4 different types of bonds and works in just 4 minutes. When I used it, looking at the ingredients, I didn't necessarily find anywhere where it claimed to repair disulfide bonds, but it does contain a significant amount of lactic acid, which is really good at repairing the salt bonds in your hair. I liked this. It doesn't repair all the types of bonds that I could see, but it was really good, really effective, and in a decent price point range. But if you want, personally, this is not sponsored, but I do talk about Curlsmith a lot because I love them so dearly. If you want the best bang for your bond repair buck, this one, Bond Curl Rehab Salve. It targets 3 different types of bonds in your hair, clinically proven, and it's really easy to use. You use it very similarly to how you would use Olaplex. You get your hair clean, you put this on, you leave it on for the designated period of time. Okay, it took me a minute to find it on the bottle, but they give really specific instructions based on your hair porosity, how long you're supposed to leave it on your hair, and how many times per week you are to use the product. This is really nice, effective, really potent. I appreciate this one. This is a good one if you are in the market for a bond repair. The next thing to do, if your curls are no longer curling, and you're probably not gonna wanna hear this, is get a trim. I know, it's the last thing you wanna hear because every time you want to grow your hair out to long, luscious, glorious mermaid hair goals, somebody's telling you to trim your hair. But getting a trim can be essential to having extremely healthy hair. I personally find that when my hair is not highlighted whatsoever, I can go roughly 3 to 4 months in between trims. But when my hair was really, really bleached in 2022, I found I needed a trim every month, which actually made it way more difficult to grow my hair out. Also, as your hair grows out longer, it can tend to get heavier and heavier. Getting a trim and having just a few soft layers added to the hair can make the curls bounce up a lot. There are so many different schools of thought on the proper way to cut hair, and I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. I personally don't mind getting a traditional wet cut. I don't always get a dry curly hair cut. I have had several of those. I've gotten to cut my hair with the Curly Days. That was amazing over Zoom. Wow, she is talented. I've gotten my hair cut by the lovely real life curly girl, Allison. She's given me dry cuts as well. But I've also had excellent haircuts from my local hairdresser, who happens to really understand and know curly hair well, and she's just really good at what she does. So if you have a really good relationship with your hairstylist, I don't think you necessarily need to fire your old hairstylist and go find you a brand new curly hairstylist. You can if you want to, but in my personal experience, that hasn't necessarily been necessary for my curliest curls. To be fair, I am on the looser side of things. I have a more wavy hair texture rather than a super tight, spirally hair texture. My curl pattern's on the looser side, so I do think that allows me to get away with the traditional wet cut. But if your curls have quit curling on you, you've clarified, you've done protein treatments, you've done bond repair, you know that all of those issues are on point, check your calendar. It may be time to trim and shape things up again. The fifth and final thing I want you to check if your curls quit curling is, are you getting a gel cast, and are you leaving that gel cast in your hair for a little bit of time? You may be saying to yourself, Courtney, I have never gotten a gel cast and I have had great curls in the past. Why do I need to shoot for a gel cast now? The reason is that 9 times out of 10, when you start this process of embracing your waves and curls, there's a decent level of damage to your hair. That damage is going to cause the hair cuticle to be lifted and kind of give your hair some natural texture and some grit. Really, what we're doing when we start this process is doing everything in our power to improve the condition of our hair. As the condition of our hair improves, the level of damage in our hair decreases, and our hair gets kind of more slippery and more nicer. And while before you may not have needed a cast in your hair to get really good wash days because the damage in your hair was actually kind of helping hold your curls in their shape, and as your hair gets healthier, it gets more silky and your curls just slowly fall out. Having a gel cast, shooting for that, whereas that may not have been your goal in the beginning, maybe it needs to be your goal now. Here are some products that I have used recently that have casted on my hair absolutely beautifully. The Briogeo Curl Charisma Rice Amino plus Quinoa Frizz Control Gel. I tried this when I first started this wavy curly hair process roughly 5 years ago, and I wasn't impressed. It didn't cast, it didn't do much, and on a whim, a year ago, I picked this up again, and it blew me away. I have had some of my most epic, best wash days in the past year when I've used this product. The trick with this was to completely skip leave-in conditioner before using this. No curl cream underneath, no leave-in conditioner underneath this. Just organize those curl clumps exactly how I want them to look, glaze it over, scrunch it in, diffuse, and rock some pretty glorious curls. Same story with the Kinky Curly Curling Custard. I used this early on in my journey and it felt really moisturizing and a tad bit heavy. I grabbed this when my hair was feeling dehydrated and I would layer really, really hard hold gels on top of it to try and get this to cast, and it still wouldn't cast. However, I tried this with no leave-in conditioner underneath it as well, and that was where the money was. This was fresh bottle this year. I am nearly done with it because I can't stop reaching for this. This is so good. It plays best on its own for me. Now, if you've done everything you can to get a really good gel cast and it's just not happening, you're not finding that gel that's working for you, there is a hack or a trick that always makes my hair cast, and that is after I've removed my plop and right before I'm about to start diffusing, add a super thin layer of curly hair friendly hairspray to your hair. What do I mean by curly hair friendly hairspray? Basically, drying alcohol-free hairspray. Those alcohol hairsprays can be a little bit too drying for our curls. They can kind of cause some frizz, some breaking up of the curl clumps, but when they're alcohol-free, they can be quite epic. This is the Curlsmith Flawless Finish Spray, and it's the stronger hold version. I do also have the lighter hold version of it. It doesn't necessarily add a cast to my hair, but it adds hold. And since we're talking about a cast, that's why I'm holding this one. Thin layer of this right before you diffuse, and it's quite possible your hair will cast when it hasn't been casting. The other one that's even like, this is not for the faint of heart. The Pattern Protein Treatment and the Bounce Curl Hairspray. Both of those, not for the faint of heart. If you've tried everything else and nothing is casting on your hair, this will, and you may not scrunch out the crunch. You may be doomed to crunchy curls for the entirety of the wash day if you're anything like me and are chronically grabbing way too much styling product. That's my issue. I tend to grab way too much product. This is strong, is basically what I'm saying. You need 3, maybe 4 sprays of this on damp hair right before you diffuse, and you will have a glorious cast. Once you've got that cast in your hair, try and leave it in your hair for as long as possible. If you are comfortable with how your hair looks in the cast, if the crunchy curls aren't making you cringe too much, don't even scrunch out the crunch on day 1. Another thing that some people really love to do is to wash and style their hair at night, get their hair 100% dry in a really good rock-in cast, and gently pineapple the hair on top of the head. By pineapple, I mean a super loose bun. Let me show you. Like that. But because they're crunchy curls, they don't fall out immediately. And you can go to sleep with your hair in that cast, and it gets that full 8 hours in the crispy, crunchy cast, right? Because we all get 8 hours of sleep at night, right? You get the point. It's getting those extra minutes and hours in that cast, giving you a better chance of your curls not drooping and falling super quickly. Leaving your hair in the cast for a significant period of time really helps reactivate curl memory. It basically forms an external structure around each of your curl clumps and gives it the support against gravity that tends to elongate everybody's curls. All right, guys, that is it for this video. I sure hope you found it helpful. There are instances wherein you do all of these things. You're doing everything right, and your curl pattern is just simply changing due to hormones, due to external factors. There was a season in my life where I became extremely stressed due to personal circumstances. And because of that, I noticed my curl pattern loosened up. When the stress resolved, my curls sprung back up a little bit. I also noticed that when I was pregnant with our daughter, 2 completely different instances, the stress and the pregnancy. Well, also the pregnancy was stressful, but I noticed that while pregnant, my curls really even more so stretched out. And no matter how many protein treatments I did, or how often I used my bond repair, or which products I layered on top of each other, I just simply wasn't going to have my tightest curls. There are seasons when your hair is curlier, there are seasons when your hair is looser. For me personally, I find that in the cold, drier months, my curls are more stretched out. And in the summer months, when there's just more moisture in the air, my hair springs up more. So keep in mind that these 5 things that I shared with you today are factors that you can control, but there are going to be things out of your control that also affect how tight your curls are. The beauty of your hair is not determined by how loose or tight your curls are. As someone with a looser curl pattern, I have had lots of people tell me here on the internet that I have no business styling my hair curly because it's not curly, because it's not curly. That's fine. Here's the fun thing about having a looser curl pattern. Depending on what you do and how you treat your hair, you actually have a little bit of control over how tight or loose your curls look. And these are the things that I look at when I am looking to shoot for a tighter, curlier wash day. But then there's days too where I enjoy a softer, looser curl as well. I think I've explained myself enough. I sure hope you are having an absolutely fantastic fantastic day, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Bye!